the truth of it is like, those guys, like, grew up, single parent, penniless in the projects, and they made success.
But I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
So this is our 8th podcast, and as I mentioned in the last podcast,
we broke 100.
Yes, the standard podcast, or the average podcast, goes 7 episodes before people give up. So we are now officially above average.
Mm-hmm.
So,
love it.
Yeah, it's it's what we do here. We don't dabble in mediocrity. Anyway, so David attended our first staff meeting the other day, and as I've always said, most golf schools, because the Breakfast Ball is the name of our podcast, but the South Jersey Golf Schools is the name of the golf school that my family founded nearly 45 years ago. We're the oldest continuous running golf school in New Jersey. So, right, actually, we're sitting here this morning, and I got a couple texts. Are you guys still going to be doing the podcast? Because they're calling for 4 to 6 inches of snow at least, and as we speak right now, it's snowing outside. And I guess the question that we get a lot is, what do you guys do in the winter? And well, we're busy. Yeah, last year we ran special events all winter long. Our ladies' night sold out. This year we're doing winter high school training, and we'll probably do another ladies' day coming up too. But yeah, we're busy, and one of the things that we do that I'm really proud of is we brainstorm. I sit every meeting that we ever have here, and David has sheets of paper from this Wednesday's meeting in front of him. Every meeting I always end up with new ideas. What's a new idea that's going to spur business or going to help us? And we came out with some great ideas to actually get David integrated into our process in the near future. So I walked out of that meeting all pumped, and I'm sure you guys felt the same way. Like, let's go! Like, new ideas, I love them. And then I made the cardinal sin of what I should know better. I one of my dear friends, who I love to death, he considers himself what is he himself? Let me see if I wrote it down. His exact quote. His exact quote was he proclaims himself a realist, and which I always say that means you're a brutally honest negative Nancy. It's if I looked at some of the things that I was told not to do, I wouldn't be where I am today. For example, after sitting and stewing, thinking to myself, my gosh, am I making good decisions here? Is this what I should be doing? I looked at myself basically in the mirror and I said, how did I get to where I am today? So I looked at business, for example. Now, my father passed away when I was in my 20s, and I tell stories about my dad all the time because, he was a professional motivational speaker, and he had lots of nuggets that he told me that I didn't get at the time, and now I completely get, you guys, you've all experienced the same thing. Now, a good friend of mine, okay, we've already committed two cardinal sins. For the people who don't watch this podcast and listen to it, we'll stop slurping coffee and tea, and Richie's going to stop banging the table.
That wasn't me tapping the table. That was me accidentally hitting the table. But
yes, it was a table
accident
right there. Yes.
Yeah, someone put me on the corner today, so
I know,
I'm not used to it.
We had to feature the handsome guy in the middle today, David. So
taking the camera.
So I regrouped, and I went to think about stuff because I bought some property on a lake a couple of years back. I guess 3 years ago now. And one of my friends said to me, he's like, you can't buy that. You're going to go bankrupt. And to this day, I sit back and now look at the value of that home, and I have nice equity in that house. And then businesses like all the ladies' days, which all of us have worked. These ideas aren't going to do you any good, and guess what? That first ladies' night that sold out, that had it was capacity 80, and we were on a waiting list for that. Like Richie said, what did you say when your friend JJ said about the podcast?
Oh, about the podcast. JJ said to me, we were talking about it in the car, and I said I'm putting all this work in on the videos, editing, stuff like that, and he said to me, that's not going to work, right? And I looked at him and I was I think I said it before in one of the other podcasts, watch me.
Yeah. Watch me is right,
Watch
man.
me.
I mean, look, we love Eric Thomas, we love David Goggins, we love Les Brown. Look
love
where
David
those guys
Gibson,
started
too.
from. What's that?
I said we love David Gibson too.
We don't. Yeah. That's why David's in the middle. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's like the truth of it is like those guys grew up single parent penniless in the projects, and they made success. Create your own success for sure.
Glass of bourbon, ha ha. My bourbon, ha ha. My bourbon, ha ha. Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.